It's time to get lost in the Midcard. This Believe in Pro Wrestling property is brought to you by Bet Online, the continued #1 source for all your sports betting needs. Join now and receive your 100% welcome bonus on your first deposit when you use our promo code BELIEVE. Now, here are Jeremy Bennett and Matt Black on the Believe Podcast Network.
Oh, yeah, baby.
It's 2023.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast where we hope you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It is Lost in the Midcard. We took off last week for the holidays, but today we are, as promised, going to do a show with no format, much like Seinfeld. This will be a show about nothing. We will be do a little year in review, but also this show's about you guys as well. This is going to be completely an hour driven by you guys. So ask us anything pro wrestling related, non-pro wrestling related. Hell, who cares? But we are going to just take the hour to kind of do a year in review. We will. If you're a longtime fan of Lost in the Midcard, we used to do an award show called the Marquees. That'll be back next year. We'll bring the Marquees back next year for sure. So stay tuned to that. But we'll still give some opinions on 2022 and whatnot. And once again, thank you for joining us. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to Believe in Pro Wrestling on YouTube and give us a thumbs up on the video, give us a comment, share, and subscribe, and click that bell notification so you know when we go live, as always, every Monday at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, just before Monday Night Raw. We will lead you into Monday Night Raw, which is hopefully going to be as big as SmackDown was on Friday. We'll briefly we'll talk about SmackDown and Dynamite a little bit here as well. But again, it's not going to be your typical structured show where we do news stories and recaps. It's going to be kind of a free-for-all. Like I said, we're going to do a year in review. And anybody in the chat watching us live, post your questions. As always, my co-host, he is on the Twitter at Raw F Showtime. It is Mr. Matt Black. Matt, Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. How's it going?
Happy New Year, man. It's good. 2022 in the world of professional wrestling was freaking crazy. There's so much stuff that we'll be able to talk about based on what, the people in the live chat want to talk about. But, man, I think 2023 is going to start out with a crazy bang with Wrestle Kingdom tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, I think 2023 is going to be, if it even could be, it could be potentially crazier than 2022.
Yeah. Very possible. Is Raw taped?
No, Raw's live, pal.
Why is... Oh, okay. Fightful just put out an article that says Raw results.
They always post that. They always post that ahead of time.
It must be. Thanks for joining us, Steven.
What's up, Steven?
Mark Show about nothing. We're talking about NWA. Oh.
I mean, if somebody asks us about the NWA and we have to talk about them, we will. But that's not going to be by our choice, okay? This is all up to you guys. Your questions, what you want us to talk about the last year, the future, questions about the future, 2023, anything you want to talk about tonight in the world of wrestling, fair game. Even the NWA. Let's do it.
Yeah, I haven't watched NWA in forever, so.
Neither have I.
But yeah, as you see on the bottom here.
There's a good reason for that.
As you see on the bottom here, 2022 Pro Wrestling Year in Review. And ask us anything. So you guys fire away with some good questions in the chat. We will answer them. 2022 was pretty crazy. A lot of things happened. I think you got to say the moment of the year was when Cody Rhodes' music hit at WrestleMania. in my opinion. I think that was probably one of the moments of the year in pro wrestling.
I don't know if I would call that the moment of the year, but it was definitely one of the biggest moments of 2022. Like hands down, it was Cody's defection from AEW to WWE
Well,
was
the
a pretty
moment
freaking big ass story.
the moment of the year could have been Vince McMahon stepping down too.
It's hard to argue that hell froze over and Vince McMahon is gone is not the biggest wrestling story of 2022. Hey,
Yeah.
you and me both. We're all on Mercedes watch this week.
Yeah, Antoine. Breaking news, not breaking news, but news that broke today from Fightful. Naomi is in Japan.
Trinity Fat 2.
Presumably to probably root on Sasha, who again is not confirmed for Wrestle Kingdom, by the way. And Rocky Romero goes on the record to say, well, fans will have to just watch to get the answers. So I don't know. Frantic World, Happy New Year.
Absolutely there. And I can't wait to see it.
Thanks for joining us, Frantic World. Like I said, anybody here in the chat, just go ahead, ask your questions. Give us your year end and review, your wrestler of the year, your match of the year, all that. And that would that would be great.
Look, I don't even know if that company is worth Tony Khan spending money on at this point.
No.
It has fallen so far since the NWA product that we had pre-pandemic that I don't even think there's any value to the brand right now. I think Billy Corgan has killed every piece of goodwill and value that brand had, to the point where their centerpiece, Nick Aldis, is like, fuck this shit, I'm out of here. And when that happens, it's just like, okay, then, if the person who believed in your company more than anything is, hitting the bricks, what's left? Like, freaking, even putting the NWA World Title back on Matt Cardona, I don't know if that's enough to shift that company in the right direction in 2023.
If ROH can't get on TV, NWA sure as hell ain't going to be on TV. So,
but the whole thing, from my understanding, with ROH not getting on TV, it's not that the fact that they couldn't get on TV. It's that Tony Khan is seemingly at this point afraid to negotiate with anybody other than Warner Brothers Discovery, because he's really, focused in on that, the renewal of the AEW television deal this year.
Yeah,
he didn't want to ruffle anybody's feathers.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Tony Khan couldn't have gotten ROH on another cable platform. I think Tony Khan's like, if I can't get it on Warner Brothers Discovery, I'm not putting it on anywhere else right now in terms of cable, because I don't want to disturb our potential television deal for AEW this year. And honestly, that's probably the smartest move he could make, because it's all about AEW's television deal in 2023.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a big thing. That's going to be I guarantee we're going to be talking about that a lot, over the course of 2023, the television deals for both AEW and WWE.
Yeah. Matt Cardona, WWE bound. Yeah. I mean, Chelsea is.
Well, we know Chelsea. It seems Chelsea is.
Yeah.
I don't know if Cardona is. I don't know if he's. So, the thing is, I think he has standards. I don't think he's going to come back in to just take the paycheck. I think he's going to be like, hey, if I'm coming in, I'm not Zack Ryder anymore. I'm Matt Cardona.
Yeah.
And you guys are going to use me differently. And I think if he can't get that, agreed upon in writing, I don't think he will go back.
I kind of wonder if.
I think you might get a surprise Royal Rumble appearance, like a one-off, but I don't know if you'll see him back there full time if he's not going to be Matt Cardona.
Yeah, I would assume that he's got enough built up right now to where he could negotiate to be Matt Cardona, much like Cody Rhodes. Obviously, keeping his theme song is the big thing there. Obviously, keeping
same band
who he is,
same band who did Cody's theme, did Cardona's theme, so that shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah, and obviously, in my opinion, I think Chelsea Green would be the perfect replacement for Mandy Rose for a Toxic Attraction. Now, I've seen some people say, well, maybe after the smoke clears, Mandy comes back. I don't know. But
I still think it should be Sonya.
It was reported that she made
Chelsea is not a bad option.
It was reported that she made $1 million in December. Now, will that sustain? No, that won't sustain.
Yeah, but if you save your money, if you save money wisely, like, of course she's not going to make $1 million a month, through all of 2023. But look, if you're smart with your money, $1 million goes a long way, brother.
Yeah. And like I said, a lot of people think maybe once the smoke clears too, that she could be brought back. But again, she probably does not want to give up her whatever site that is that she's on. So I don't know if she will ever be back. And if Tony Khan's smart, he will bring her in. Obviously, OnlyFans is not a problem. Tony Storm has an OnlyFans. A couple other wrestlers just started some OnlyFans as well. So
yeah, Time Ella they started one.
Catching up here in the chat once again. Thank you for joining us live on our first show of 2023. We took a break last week, but we are back in full force, and we will be back to a normal show next week, our normal format as we always do. But of course, we always go off the rails there too. But let's catch up on the chat once again. This is anybody that's joining us live. Ask us anything, even doesn't have to be pro wrestling related. Also reflect on 2022. Bring anything you want in the chat here, and we'll get you on. Steven Chambers joining us as always. NWA does have good talent. Kerry Morton, who I believe wrestled in GCW this past weekend. Colby Carino is now a free agent.
Now a free agent. Yeah, he's that is another piece of talent the NWA no longer has.
I believe he is going to join his dad at NXT, Steve Carino.
That seems like a no-brainer at this point.
Yeah, I think Fightful Select had brought that up. Elijah Burke, a great talent. Camille, a great talent. And her husband, what's he go by now? I forget. Tom's his real name.
Tom Latimer.
Latimer. He goes by his real name. Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot. It's been so long. My God, NWA was so good before the pandemic. You had Ricky Starks.
It was a great product before the pandemic.
You had Thunder Rosa. You had Aaron Stevens. You had question mark. Rest in peace.
Ricky Starks.
I think you had. I think there's a question mark too.
They had Marty Skrull there before, things happened.
And of course, Nick Aldis, who is a free agent in his own right now, as of yesterday. So crazy time there. Antoine in the chat. Cody leaves AEW. Bray comes back. Vince is gone. Wow, what a year! That is correct, man. It's
bonkers. It really is. It's really like Austin. Like no one's. 2022 was so crazy. The fact that Stone Cold Steve Austin came out of the retirement for the first time in almost 20 years is almost an afterthought.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
It is.
It's absolutely unreal how eventful 2022 was in wrestling.
Mark Cho on the chat says Zach is dead. He has to be himself. Yeah, I fully agree. He's not going to be Zack Ryder if he comes back to WWE.
Yeah, and that's my thing. If they say, well, you're going to be Zack Ryder, I think he's going to be like, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah. Steven, thoughts on the Nakamura Muta match last night? I did not see it.
Dude, it was sick. It was really good. And I'll tell you what, look, this finish might have been done before, but I've never seen this finish before.
How did it
Muta went for like the third type of mist on Nakamura, but Nakamura basically like kissed him or like bit his mouth or whatever and took the mist into his mouth and misted Muta and then hit him with the Kinshasa for the win.
Oh, that's cool.
The match was awesome. And the guy who played Nakamura out at the NXT takeovers with the violin.
I saw the entrance on Twitter.
Nakamura brought him over to Japan too. Match was great. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend. Go out of your way to check it out. I thought they killed it, and I can't wait to see what Muta does with Darby and Sting later this month.
Mm-hmm. Steven here, either Chelsea Green or Carmella. I mean, yeah, if you bring up Toxic Attraction, Carmella's not a bad choice either to lead that group as well on the main roster.
Who knows when she's going to be back there, or even if she's going to want to come back.
Yeah.
So she's kind of,
That's way up in the air, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's before we go into kind of our impromptu marquees of the year, let's go back to Dynamite on Wednesday. How about that match at the beginning of the night? Bryan Danielson, Ethan Page, man. If you are have been sleeping on Ethan Page, we of course have not. We've been big Ethan Page fans for years. I think it's good that he's finally coming into he's almost basically the de facto leader of the firm. You gotta think.
He's definitely the top. Yeah, he's definitely the top act in the firm right now.
Yeah, and thankfully they didn't do the swerve with MGF, which would have seemed
It's
very
still
obvious.
going to happen.
You think
it's
so?
Still going. I still think the firm and MJF are in cahoots. It's just gonna be a slow build to when that reveal happens.
The great Kahootie.
Oh my.
I got our Uno decks behind us.
Damn right we do. The
party.
party is back.
Blackpool Combat Club Top Flight had a hell of a match. Hook still undefeated. When's he going to get a title shot? Come on.
Well, he's got the FTW title.
Well, yeah. I love the stare down. I love the stare down of Hook and Big Bill. Congrats.
The funny thing is that stare down was kind of weird because it looked like Big Bill was just looking ahead instead of looking down.
That's what he was.
Like
I think he was doing. I think he was doing it,
but Bill was like looking straight ahead. It was a weird face off.
I think he was doing that on purpose, just to say, "I don't see you, kid." Congrats to Big Bill, by the way, getting engaged to backstage correspondent Lexi Nair. So congrats to those two.
Which is why I think they brought him in to begin with.
Yeah,
I definitely think her work in there had a lot to do with him choosing to go there and like not go back to WWE.
Frantic World here. The highlights of Muta versus Nakamura. The match looked good. I can't believe that Muta called Nakamura the F word.
That's definitely, man. I don't know what he was thinking on that post match press conference. That was not a. Come on, Muta.
What happened?
You know better.
What did he say?
I'm not repeating it.
Oh, well, okay.
I'm not. No. Look, we can talk about a lot of things on the show today.
Oh.
I ain't talking about that.
Oh, different F word.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see it. So, Matt Hardy teased a broken return today. Why would it be today?
He's been teasing it for weeks on AEW Dark Elevation.
Oh.
So, I mean, that's not. This isn't something new. He's been.
Why would they do the broken
while.
return on Elevation though?
Well, the story's been happening on Elevation.
Yeah.
The story between Ethan Page and Matt Hardy and Private Party has been happening consistently every week on Dark Elevation. So
yes, Jungle Boy with his Jim Duggan. Ho!
Tough guy.
I still loved it. My favorite Jim Duggan moment ever is when he called Lita ho.
Of all of Jim Duggan's that's your favorite Jim Duggan moment?
Well, there ain't much in inside the wrestling ring outside of a Royal Rumble win, but
wow.
Vince he just trotted him out for the hose.
He still had a good career regardless of championships.
He never won a championship, did he?
That man found the WCW television championship in a dumpster, sir, and then went on to defend it on WCW Saturday Night. Don't tell me Duggan's never held gold.
Antoine in the chat, who would beat MJF, Starks or Wardlow? Starks is
definitely not Wardlow.
Starks' stock is so high right now. I would not argue putting obviously he cheated to win against Starks, so a rematch is definitely coming down the line. Why would you not say Wardlow? Because
he's cold off to hell and back.
Yeah.
And the underdog babyface does not look good on him. I did not enjoy the storyline with Joe on Dynamite at all. I don't. Wardlow got over for doing a certain thing, and now they're trying to change him into something else, and that's not what got him over to begin with. And I don't think it's going to connect as well long term. I think they need to go back to the drawing board with Wardlow right now. Starks, if you're going to have MJF hold the title for the whole year, which we can't count out that they're going to do this, a great idea that I've seen pitched around at several points already is he loses the title and winter is coming in 2023 to Ricky Starks. 1 year later, Starks wins the tournament again at Full Gear, and he and he's the last line of defense before the bidding war of 2024. And
Yeah.
Starks wins the championship from MJF next year.
Yeah, I could see MJF holding the title all year long just because of the bidding war of 2024. I don't know if that's
Which
the
is so
best
fake
deal.
because the dude signed a new deal. I don't care what he says.
I just wonder. It's weird though, because Roman Reigns has held the belt almost 900 days, and people are not getting tired of him. You see messages here and there.
People were getting tired of it
but
for
he's
a while
getting
until Sami Zayn came in. Sami Zayn changed the dynamic of Roman Reigns' story. Until Zayn got involved in the bloodline, people had enough. They're like, all right, move on from the Reigns thing already. The bloodline's getting stale. Then they interjected Sami, they interjected Solo, and they re-sparked everything again.
They keep changing it, and I mean it all started with Jay and Roman, and they had those matches. Then Jimmy comes back. They just keep constantly evolving a tremendously told 3-year story. So, like I said, I've said this on this show and many other shows. This has been the best story that WWE has told in probably 25 years. I
just hope that all I can say is I hope over the next 3 to 4 months they stick the landing.
Hey,
if they stick the landing, I think it could I think it has the potential to go down as one of the greatest WWE storylines of all time.
Hey, Kev Kellum is joining us on the show. Thanks for joining us tonight, Kev. Of course, Kev and
we talking men's or women's or both?
Yeah, we'll get there in a minute. Kev and I, of course, we are doing some videos, some fun little videos on Sportskeeda. So you, keep an eye out on socials for those when we get those. And of course, Kev and I and Jose did Top Story for about a good year run, and unfortunately that came to an end. But who wins the Royal Rumble? Well, I think the women. The women, I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley. The men. I gotta say Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens.
All right, and for the men, I'm going Cody Rhodes. I think beyond doing the Rock idea, which I've heard thrown around, I think Cody Rhodes is the definitive answer for the Rumble this year. As far as the women goes, could be Rhea. I could make a case for Becky Lynch too, but they've totally put the kibosh on the original match that was planned between Becky and Ronda.
That Vince had planned.
I mean that kind of makes the women's Rumble all the more wide open now.
Yeah.
Because if Becky's not winning it to go to SmackDown to challenge Ronda, it really opens up the match, and it's not going to be Charlotte now because Charlotte's got a title. So yeah, it could be Becky, could be Rhea. It could be like there's a lot of options on the women's side of who they could win that Rumble this year. I think the men's is a lot more condensed, and I really feel like Cody's the move.
Yeah,
I really do.
If you want to swerve them,
I've heard Rock, I've heard Rollins. To me, I still think it's Cody.
If you want to swerve people, I would give it to Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens and have Cody win a number 1 contenders elimination chamber. I'd have Cody win the chamber.
I still see KO and Sami challenging the Usos for the tag titles at WrestleMania. So
speaking of
one of them winning the Royal Rumble doesn't make any sense.
Speaking of Top Story, there's Jose right on cue. Kevin and Jose together there. My old work buddy Anthony, I used to work with him at Allstate back in the day. Thanks for joining us, man. Antoine saying Cody or Seth for the men, Rhea or Becky for the women. And Steven thinking Cody or Seth as well, and Rhea or Bayley. Obviously, Bayley, Damage Control, they've been kind of on they still have the tag titles, but Bayley has been kind of on a downturn, losing, a little bit of a losing streak. So her winning the Rumble would not be a bad thing. The Rumble could
definitely help with that. Yep. It's definitely it's a possibility. You can't rule it out.
Hey, a tie finish, to split up the belts. As long as we can get them damn things split up eventually, that would be kind of cool and set up Roman Reigns main eventing both nights of WrestleMania.
The tie finish is so tricky to pull off.
Yeah.
And especially in this age of everybody having a cell phone and everything.
4K, 8K.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. If they're gonna do a tie finish, which I'm not opposed to, that shit needs to be picture perfect, and
Yeah.
anything can go wrong, on something like that. So if that's what they're going for, they need to be really careful, because that could end up, blowing up in their faces if that's not executed to complete perfection.
For those just joining us, this is not your typical format for Lost in the Midcard, but we will get back to that next week. Today is just all about you guys. Drive in the chat. Give us some any questions. Doesn't even have to be pro wrestling related. Just any sort of questions. Also, we're doing a year in review as well. We are talking about Dynamite and SmackDown, though, because they were both good shows last week. So that is about the only thing from our normal format that we're bringing, but it's kind of a free-for-all on tonight's show. Best of 7, of course, we all knew it was going to 7, which will be a week from Wednesday. Escalera de la Muerta, the ladder match of death. I cannot wait for Game 7 between these guys. Obviously, Matt and I are in agreement that the Elite are going to win there, and I think Death Triangle breaks up after this. Honestly,
And I will say that I will have. Let me put a caveat in here, because there's only one way that the Elite don't win,
okay.
and that's if CM Punk comes back and costs the Elite the match.
Boy, would that be fun.
Look, you can't roll. Could you imagine an angry CM Punk and FTR storming the ring when the Elite are climbing the ladder to get those titles, and they just beat the shit out of them? Like, you can't roll it out. Because 2022 was so freaking crazy, you can't roll out anything happening in 2023. So look, if Punk's ready to roll, that's a reason for the Elite not to win. But if that's not, in the plans right now, it's got to be the Elite, because I want to see the Elite in House of Black. And Death Triangle, look, they've kind of run their course, and it would be nice to see Pac go out and do his own thing, and let Penta and Phoenix do something else.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what 2023 brings for the Death Triangle.
Yeah, I don't want to see it happen, but I just have this feeling that they may break up after this. But Steven Chambers in the chat, match of the year, top 3, FTR Briscoe's dog collar match, Cody, Seth Hell in a Cell, Sheamus, Gunther, Clash at the Castle. Those are basically good ones.
It's honestly hard to argue with any of those for being in the conversation for match of the year. They were all tremendous.
I want to say I liked an earlier FTR Briscoe match better, but they were all
talking
three.
About Super Card of Honor.
Yeah. This obviously Final Battle was great. I'm not saying it wasn't. They were all literally.
Well, I think this was probably the greatest dog collar match I've ever seen.
Yeah, the fact
I think that is really weighing on people's minds, because I've seen a lot of dog collar matches in my day, in my time of watching wrestling, and I can't think of one that I enjoyed more than the one between FTR and the Briscoes.
Yeah, the fact that it was a double dog collar, a tag team dog collar match was.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's ever been done.
I don't
like. I can't ever recall a double dog collar match like that before. Like, there might have been one.
Yeah,
I don't remember it.
I liked
all
earlier.
3 of those matches were freaking great.
I liked earlier Cody and Seth matches too. Hell in a Cell, obviously people remember because of his
Cody injury.
Yeah, his injury
amplified everything in that match, and the fact that he was able to put on a match like that with Seth with that injury is what makes it a match of the year candidate for me too.
My match of the year, all companies, is going to be Sheamus and Gunther at Clash at the Castle, which is also Clash at the Castle is my WWE pay-per-view of the year as well. But that is my match of the year.
I agree with that.
That is my match of the year, though. Sheamus and Gunther. Fair. That's my numero uno. But yeah, Clash of the Castle is my favorite pay-per-view of the year. Nothing really topped it. There were some good ones. There were some stinkers. Like the Rumble was a huge disappointment this year.
Rumble sucked.
Which made me sad because that's my favorite pay-per-view of the year. But yeah, I'm going Sheamus and Gunther. I'm going Sheamus.
In terms of WWE pay-per-view of the year, I go WrestleMania 38 Night 1.
Okay.
Or even SummerSlam as probably 2 of WWE's top pay-per-views of the year.
I'm sticking with Clash of the Castle.
I like Clash of the Castle, okay, but honestly, it felt like a Saudi event with some really good wrestling on it to me. I can't put that in a qualification for a match of the for a pay-per-view of the year.
FTR, yep, Frantic World FTR Briscoe matches are great. Yes, they were.
All three of them. I loved all of them.
Mark Cho, Pitbulls, and Public Enemy and ECW had a.
There you go. Yeah, I don't remember
AEW
that one,
Revolution. I think that was the pay-per-view of the year for me.
I think it was Full Gear.
Hmm.
I think Full Gear was my favorite. Revolution would probably come in second, and then Double or Nothing, and then All Out. I would say probably in that order of the four.
Revolution.
I mean, do we count Forbidden Door?
Revolution.
If we count Forbidden Door, that might be on top.
Revolution had Kingston Jericho, a triple threat with Jurassic, Red Dragon, Young Bucks. God, how long ago was that with Bobby Fish and the company? Wardlow won the Face of the Revolution ladder match. Jade beat Takanchi. Punk beat MJF in a dog collar match. Britt Baker beat Thunder Rosa. Moxley took on Danielson. 6-man tornado match with Darby, Sammy, and Sting against the Hardy Andrade family office. And then Hangman Page and Adam Cole in the main event. Full Gear saw Jungle Boy versus Luchasaurus. Death Triangle in the Elite, which was the first match in the best of 7. Jade took on Nyla Rose. Jericho beat Danielson, Claudio, and Sammy for the ROH title. Saraya defeated Britt Baker. Joe beat Warlow and Powerhouse Hobbs for the TNT title. Sting and Darby Allin took on Jarrett and Lethal. Hayter beat Storm to win the title. Acclaim beat Swerve in Our Glory, and MJF beat Moxley. I would say a Revolution is mine after going through that again.
Does Forbidden Door count as an AEW pay-per-view? Because if Forbidden Door counts, I have to put that at the top.
Maybe.
And then you could almost do a coin flip between Revolution and Full Gear. I love them both.
Yeah.
But then it's Double or Nothing, and then it's All Out. And look, Joe, you might be right. My opinion of All Out might be soured based on what happened after the show.
Yeah.
But just from my general memory of all the shows this year, I remember All Out being the worst. The worst AEW pay-per-view of the year. And I'm not even saying worse as in bad. Like, I don't think AEW had a bad pay-per-view this year, but if I had to rank them, All Out would be at the bottom.
While we have it up, let's talk.
We'll be talking about the aftermath of All Out.
No, let's talk about.
That's what was on the screen. I wasn't sure.
We'll get that off the screen.
I feel like we've talked about that to death, but I mean, if people want to talk about it, we'll talk about it.
Again, this is a show driven by you guys. We still have a little under half an hour left.
Your questions.
So ask us anything, mention anything about the best of 2022, the worst of 2022.
Give us your predictions for 2023.
So let's go to
anything, man.
Yeah, let's go to WWE. Since I have this graphic up from WWE. Sports Illustrated top 10 wrestlers of 2022. Let me get the banner out of the way here. Seth Rollins, number 1. Jon Moxley, number 2. Bianca Belair, 3. Roman Reigns, 4. Will Ospreay at 5. Jamie Hayter at 6. El Hijo de Vikingo at 7. Dax Harwood at 8. Cash Wheeler at 9. Masha Slamovich at 10. What do you think of that list from Sports Illustrated, Matt?
There's a couple of names on there I simply just don't agree with. I don't think Jamie Hayter had a big enough 2022 to be in a top 10. Dax Harwood, I can see due to the amount of singles matches he had. Yeah. I don't think Cash Wheeler should be on there.
No.
And Masha Slamovich's 2022 kind of fell apart in the final, 4 months or so. So I don't know if I'd put her on that top 10 either. I can't really dispute Seth Rollins being number one though. Like, who's killed it more from January to December in the ring than Seth Rollins? He's as Sheamus would say, banner after banner after banner. Like, he's just.
Well, let's go to that WWE Male Wrestler of the Year. I'm honestly going in a different direction than a lot of people are. I'm giving it to Sheamus. A lot of people went Reigns, a lot of people went Rollins, which are not bad choices. But in terms of the past 3 years, there's not been a guy more consistent, and he's elevated himself this year. He's been consistent for 3 years with great matches, but he elevated it in 2022. And so for me, Sheamus is the Male Wrestler of the Year, in my opinion.
In WWE, that's, well, I would say him or Rollins could get that distinction. And I've had this argument about Reigns with several people. To me, Roman Reigns is the WWE Performer of the Year.
He's had quality matches,
the complete package. He's had 11. He had 11 televised matches this year. I'm sorry, if you can't have 12 televised matches in a 12-month span, I'm not putting you on my I'm not giving you a Wrestler of the Year, category.
Seth Rollins paid.
I don't know about all that, Craig. I know your disdain for Seth Rollins, but I do not think he paid Sports Illustrated to be number one. I'm not buying that.
I think the Woman of the Year is clear and ahead of everybody else, Bianca Belair.
Oh, yeah, WWE, absolutely. Yeah. Nobody has done more consistently from January to December than Bianca Belair.
Rhea Ripley has a good chance.
Charlotte was gone for months. Ronda was gone for months. Becky was gone for months.
Yeah,
it's almost Bianca Belair by default.
Yep. And Rhea Ripley has a good chance to take that in 2023. My good friend John,
she was gone for several months too with injuries.
My good friend John Canton did his annual Johnny Awards. He just did the WWE ones yet. He hasn't done AEW yet. But he did Bianca Belair's won 3 straight years. And I think this will be the year that 2023 could be the year that gets broken. I think Rhea Ripley could break through to be that performer.
Yeah, I don't know if 2023 is going to be Bianca's year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Rhea's. It's going to be Rhea's year, in my opinion. Steven, whoops, hit the wrong button there, but Steven Chambers in the chat picking Roman. Sheamus has to beat Gunther in 20. I agree, Steven. I do
that. I know they want. I know the rumor is Gunther and Brock at Mania, but if they're not going to do that, Sheamus beating Gunther for the title at WrestleMania, that's a big moment.
We still have 4 weeks. Could be a Royal Rumble. This could be a Royal Rumble match right here.
I don't know if you do it that quick. Like they're still building Gunther and Braun right now. I feel that's more of a Rumble match.
Mark Cho, let's not overlook Gunther. Gunther's had a great year as well. I'm
not trying to overlook Gunther. I just don't know if I don't know if I would say he's Wrestler of the Year.
I just don't like how he's afraid of Braun Strowman. He should not be afraid of. Braun
I don't like that either. But I mean that comes more down to the performer category than a wrestler category. I'm talking what they're doing bell to bell, man.
Steven Chambers, Bianca for the women. That's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Antoine, do you think TK has a TV deal for ROH this year? We just talked about this. It's probably not going to be until after the re-up with his TV deal with
and
Warner.
For all we know, an addition of ROH could be part of Tony's new deal with Warner Brothers Discovery this year. That might be one of the reasons that we're waiting on it right now.
Yeah,
it might legitimately be because when they do Ring of Honor, they want to do it all together. They want to bundle it essentially, and Ring of Honor might have some kind of deal with Warner Brothers Discovery when the AEW television deal is renewed later this year. That's definitely something we should be keeping an eye on.
Who's your? I think tag team of the year is clearly the Usos. That's not a. I don't think that's really up for debate.
In WWE?
Yeah, WWE.
Yeah, I mean, of course, like there was no the tag team division in 2023 in WWE. Hopefully, it gets a lot of help.
Yeah,
because it was pretty freaking pathetic in 2022, and it's another one much like Bianca Belair, the Usos kind of won by default. So, yeah.
I think NXT Women of the Year, Mandy Rose. She went from Being an afterthought on the main roster, transitioning to NXT, creating a great faction, and then holding the belt for over 300 days. Unfortunately, let go to silly circumstances, but it is clear Mandy Rose is your NXT Women Wrestler of the Year. I don't think Matt would disagree.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I think thought she had a phenomenal 2022. It sucks that it ended the way that it did, but there's no women in NXT that
I'm gonna
dominated things more than than Mandy did throughout the entire year.
I'm gonna give you a surprise for male NXT Wrestler of the Year. Before my surprise, who do you think was the male NXT Wrestler of the Year?
Carmel Hayes.
Okay. I don't argue with that one bit. My NXT Wrestler of the Year, maybe I should go to Carmelo, maybe more than I think about it, but mine is Julius Creed. Julius, and maybe he's more of a breakthrough wrestler than the Wrestler of the Year, but at the same time, I
You
mean,
can make more of an argument for them being the Creed brothers being the NXT tag team of the year.
yeah, man, that's maybe it's more of a
than
break.
anything else.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say Carmelo is the NXT male wrestler of the year. Julius is the breakthrough. Julius is going to be a single star. He's got it all. He's got the mic skills and obviously the in-ring work and the look. He is going to be a huge star. So Frantic World here in the chat. Mox had a great 2022. John Moxley is not only my AEW wrestler of the year, he is my overall wrestler of the year. I am biased sometimes, but there was a lot to back this up this year. Became a 3-time world champion, overcame alcoholism and made a triumphant return, and just had tremendous matches with the formation of the Blackpool Combat Club and everything. To me, I think John Moxley should have been number 1 on that SI list instead of number 2. So John Moxley is my male AEW wrestler of the year. What do you got?
It's hard to argue. It's hard to argue Mox because if you look at AEW throughout 2022, they had so many injuries at the top of their card, considering their main event title scene, and Moxley at times really carried, the company on his back throughout 2022. And I think the only other person that you can make a genuine argument for, and I know a lot of people might hate this, would be Chris Jericho. I think Chris Jericho and John Moxley shouldered all of the injuries, all of the issues, and everything that went on in AEW throughout 2022, and they really took that company on their back. And they're like, "Look, we're gonna get us through these injuries. We're gonna get us through this shit, and we're gonna make things work." And I think those two right there at the top of the list of being two of the most important performers AEW had in 2022.
Antoine in the chat, when is Mox going to get a vacation? When he loses to Hangman Page.
He was the only. I see this joke all the time. Mox never wanted to take a vacation to begin with. The whole situation was Tony's like, all right, we don't really have anything for you to do from All Out till the Cincinnati Dynamite. You could take some time off. Like, Mox didn't want to take time off. Mox is the guy who goes to, Wrestling Revolver and GCW on the weekends because the dude doesn't want to take time off. Yeah. Now that he's on the road with Renee, there's no reason for him to want to take time off. Mox will take a vacation when Mox goes to Tony Khan and says, "Hey, I want to take a vacation." And Tony will be like, "All right, how are we going to write you off TV?" It's really going to be that simple. If Mox wants to take a vacation, Mox will take a vacation. It's not like he's being held there, against his will. He wants to be there every week.
Against his will. Yes, wishing AJ Styles a speedy recovery. He's going to be out a few months. Broke his ankle.
Yeah, that sucks.
Somebody laid out.
There were a lot of rumors he was going to be at Wrestle Kingdom this week to accompany, Anderson. And that ain't going to happen now.
Gallows has
sucks.
Gallows has been confirmed to accompany Anderson.
But I mean, it's just it like the fact that we might have gotten AJ and the fact that it's not going to happen now, an injury that occurred that close, that really sucks.
Yeah. Carl's taking on Tama Tonga, right?
Yeah, Tama Tonga. I definitely see the title changing there.
Oh yeah. Women AEW Wrestler of the Year. I mean, Jamie Hayter's up there, but I got to give it to Toni Storm.
Yes, agreed. I thought Tony killed it. Talk about taking a division on your back. when they put that title on her, she wrestled like 11 or 12 weeks straight on either Dynamite or Rampage. She was on TV every freaking week, defending that title or working a tag match or whatever. Like, I can't recall any AEW Women's World Champion winning that title and going on the preceding run that Toni Storm went on this year. Toni Storm absolutely my AEW Women's Wrestler of the Year. That's why I can't see the argument for Jamie Hayter being on that top 10 over someone like Toni Storm.
She looked great this year for sure.
Yeah.
And tag team of the year.
Are we even discussing this? Are you kidding me?
Scissor me, daddy ass.
It's FTR, man.
Yeah, FTR is like FTR is. I mean, they're just the pro wrestling tag team of the year.
I agree. If we're talking all companies,
yeah,
FTR's is the pro wrestling tag team.
I want to see your reaction when I did that.
I
Only like, Acclaimed. Holy shit!
I was like, my God, if he's serious, we're about to go.
Holy cow, the Acclaimed.
We're about to go first taking on here.
How over did they get in 2022? Wow.
Oh, they had a great final 4 or 5 months.
I predicted
but they didn't have a great 12 months that FTR
I predicted
had.
it on this show. I predicted that FTR is going to go on a losing streak, lose all their belts, and then they're going to catch a tournament or something where they will beat the Acclaimed for those tag titles in 2023.
I think FTR is going to go on a slide until CM Punk comes back. And he's like, hey, what the fuck you guys doing?
That would be, man.
And he freaking puts them, and he gets FTR back on the right track, which will lead them to either trios titles or tag team titles or something. I see CM Punk being the catalyst that will turn FTR's losing ways around in 2023.
Man, if Punk comes back next week, boy, wouldn't that be something? He doesn't even have to be cleared.
I'm not saying it's next week, but I definitely see CM Punk back on. I will look. It's a 2022-2023 show. That's my big prediction of the year. CM Punk will return to All Elite Wrestling at some point in 2023. It's going to happen.
Match of the year, I would have to pull from my pay-per-view of the year and go with CM Punk MJF in the dog collar match. I think that was my match of the year for AEW.
Oh, boy. Man, I there's so many different ones off the top. Was Danielson's match with Hangman this year on Dynamite? Was that a 2022 match?
I don't remember.
Oh man, because if it was, I have to give it to that. I can't remember. Like, the problem with AEW is there were so many great matches. It's harder to really pinpoint down.
I just think the drama, all the drama.
Look, Punk and MJF's dog collar match is a great choice. Yeah. I wish I could. I wish I would have thought ahead. I wish I would have done some homework and put some things down.
Does that mean the dog collar is the 2022 gimmick of the year? Between MJF and
it certainly seems like it does.
And then the Briscoes and FTR. So dog collar is gimmick of the year. Impact Wrestling got men's wrestler of the year, Josh Alexander. I think that's pretty simple and straightforward. I would, the women, you got Jordan, you got Masha, and you got Mickie James, all had great years. I think I would still give it to Jordan Grace for the women.
Yeah, and Impact, absolutely. Yeah, but you could kind of make an argument for Mickie James.
Though eventually, when I finally get off my ass and put this wall together, you'll see a picture of Masha up here, though. So,
but yeah, freaking an incredible year for Jordan Grace, and I think she's gonna have a really big 2023 as well.
Yeah. So Steven agrees with Matt that Punk might come back next week and interfere in match number 7.
You can't rule it out, man. You can't.
That'd be so insane. Frantic World agrees with you that Paige and Danielson was indeed in 2022.
I have to give it to that, man. I fucking loved that match. That match was so damn good. So,
again, this is driven by you guys. So if you still have any more questions or comments on 2022, go ahead and ask us. We got 10 minutes left. So what we're going to do, we'll quickly go through SmackDown and then the Raw preview from Fightful Select has just come up as well. So we'll get to that. But of course, if there's anything in the chat, questions, comments on 2022, things like that, go ahead and ask us, and we will answer for you. Bray Wyatt, Uncle Howdy giving the old Sister Abigail to Bray Wyatt. What'd you think of that open there tonight or on Friday night?
as long as it's Bo Dallas, I'm fucking hyped, brother.
A lot of people want it.
Bo Dallas.
A lot of people want it to be Vincent.
I don't, because that's going to go over like a fart in church. They've had people that have already been on part of the WWE system return on Raw in these past 4 months, and it's been like crickets because the main roster viewer doesn't know who they are.
Yeah.
So if you think a reveal of Vincent, a guy who only was popular in Ring of Honor, that the average WWE fan is going to know who they are, it ain't happening. It ain't happening.
The money is in Bo Dallas. So, but God, I've enjoyed that feud, man. LA Knight, one of my favorites. Yeah. One of my favorites, and Bray Wyatt, one of my favorites as well. I am just completely stoked that this was the first feud for Bray Wyatt back. And of course they made it official. The pitch black match, whatever the hell that's going to be.
Mountain Dew pitch black match. Don't forget the branding, pal. I do like Mountain Dew Pitch Black. That's a good soda. I don't drink soda a lot anymore, but that's a good one.
Sami Zayn and Heyman, as you continue to make you think that the bloodline is going to turn on Sami soon.
Sami losing that match didn't do him any favors.
Solo Sikoa and Sheamus had a banger. No surprise. Excuse me. Oh, Pitch Black came up on me there. Drew McIntyre making the save after the bloodline beating down Sheamus. So good to see Drew back after he had ruptured an eardrum or something like that. Something that
both him and Roman suffered ruptured eardrums in War Games.
One of the better Ronda Rousey matches I've seen was her and Raquel. Obviously, you had the arm playing into it. They put in an impressive match, in my opinion.
Yep, I really liked that match. I thought it was Ronda's best match this year. Last year.
And just like an RKO out of nowhere, Charlotte Flair returns to a thunderous pop. And I guess people just wanted to see that belt off of Ronda finally, because everybody on the internet even loved Charlotte winning the title.
I don't know if everybody on the internet did, but everybody in that arena did. Everybody in that arena did, and that's what matters.
Yeah. I was surprised by that. Charlotte looks good. A needed injection into that SmackDown women's roster. So yeah, I'm excited to see where a Triple H led babyface Charlotte is gonna end up. It's gonna be interesting to see. I think this is gonna be a different Charlotte than we've ever seen. So I'm very excited for that.
She definitely spoke as a face in the online exclusive interview following SmackDown. So yeah, she might be a face going forward. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, Pitch Black's probably gonna be like a dark purple.
Yeah, nobody knows. No, at this point, no one really knows.
It's gonna be like a Sin Cara. It's gonna be like a Sin Cara match, except the arena's gonna be purple for Pitch Black.
Yeah, honestly, that's probably the most likely scenario as to what it is.
Antoine in the chat, if there was a face faction to be formed in WWE, who would be in it?
Yeah, you see seed means for the women.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to say, but I mean, with Charlotte being a face right now, it would not hurt for her to
Charlotte, Liv, and Dana
start
Brooke.
A faction of her own.
Charlotte, Liv, and Dana Brooke. If Liv is not in the Wyatt Six,
I'm not liking that trio. Yeah, I'm not liking that.
I'd say Dana Brooke's got to be in it.
I don't want Dana Brooke anywhere near it.
She improved a lot as a wrestler, man. She hasn't given a chance.
It's not been proven as a wrestler. It's the character. I can't stand her character. I think it's awful. I think she needs to go back to the drawing board for her character. They rebooted Lacey Evans' character 6 times in 2022. Least they could do is reboot Dana Brooke once.
They also forgot to air that vignette after
I like that.
Becky
I
Alba
like
and Piper.
that. Yes. I like that a lot. That's a great idea.
Yep, Fiend match, but purple. I think purple. I think that's what it's going to be.
It's probably what it's going to be.
Hit Row acted like they may turn heel after everybody made fun of Top
they're
Dollar.
totally going heel.
After everybody made fun of Top Dollar for his flop. Imperium, Braun Strowman came out and got beat down by Imperium. And then, of course, main event, return of John Cena and holy bald spot, Batman. Wow. That stood out like a sore thumb. And as we predicted, Sami Zayn took the pin. And we'll see if that has any repercussions on Friday. We got 5 minutes to go before Monday Night Raw from Sean Ross Sapp at Hit Rope.
Hit rope, hit rope.
Alter, yeah, we got to see.
You're tripping now, you know.
This has been announced for Monday Night Raw. We have a Bloodline promo, a title match between Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss, a Music City street fight between Elias and Solo Sikoa. Kevin Owens and the Street Profits take on the Usos and Sami Zayn. Dexter Lumis and Chad Gable. Damage Control is going to be there as well. And for the U.S. title, Seth Rollins and Austin Theory. Rip Fowler is working.
It definitely doesn't sound as good as SmackDown did. But I'm hoping it'll be good.
Rip Fowler and Jagger Reed from a Schism are working main event. Looks like Shelton Benjamin, Dana Brooke, and Nikki Cross are working main event as well. Summer Rae backstage as she lives in the Nashville area. Damage Control is going to lead to a match. I won't give that one away. Edge and Cody are not listed internally, but you never know. It's the first Raw of the year. It usually gets kind of crazy. So, no members of the OC or Judgment Day are there except for Mia Yim. Of course, obviously, I know Carl flew out today to Japan.
Yeah, I'm sure Gallows flew with him, and there's no reason for Styles to be on TV as long as he's got a broken ankle. Let the man be at home and rest.
Both championship matches are supposed to get significant time, so that's going to be good to see. So that's what's happening on Monday Night Raw. Thank you for everybody joining us on our kind of reflection of 2022.
Love you guys.
Yeah, it was a great show. We went. I didn't know if we'd make it a full hour, but we did make it a full hour. So it was great. Matt? What are your final thoughts?
Like I said at the beginning of the show, 2022 in pro wrestling was crazy, but I just have this feeling 2023 is going to be even crazier, and I don't know how.
Crazier than Cody going to AEW and Vince retiring?
Well, Cody going to WWE.
Or yeah.
But yeah, for some reason, I see shit being crazier. Like 1 year from now, when we're sitting here talking about 2023 interview, I'm either gonna look like Nostradamus or I'm gonna look like a dumbass.
Nostradamus.
Or Nostradamus. I guess we'll see what happens.
Oh man, thank you guys for joining us for this year in review show. Go enjoy Monday Night Raw. Should be a good one. Maybe we got some surprises in store. It'd be nice to see.
I'm hoping for some surprises tonight.
Yeah,
I feel like we got some surprises on SmackDown. Let's give Raw some surprises.
The first Raw of the year usually is insane, so we'll see how that goes. But for Matt Black, this is Jeremy Bennett. Thank you for watching Lost in the Midcard, brought to you by Bet Online.